Disney has lost its magic, and the reason is simple. It has stopped trusting its audience. In 2005, Bob Iger made the most expensive bet in entertainment history. $85 billion. That's how much Disney spent to buy every story that mattered. Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilm, and 21st Century Fox. Wall Street called it visionary. By 2019, Disney owned 40% of Hollywood's box office and most of the world's entertainment IP. But 2 decades later, that empire is collapsing. Disney has lost over $11 billion on streaming alone. Its stock has dropped nearly 60% from its 2021 peak, and its audience trust, once its greatest moat, has quietly evaporated. This isn't just the story of bad sequels or missed blockbusters. It's the story of a company that stopped believing in its audience and started believing only in its own data. In 1937, Walt Disney risked everything on Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Critics called it Disney's folly. Investors predicted bankruptcy. But it became the highest-grossing film of its time and defined the modern feature film. Walt's secret wasn't technology. It was trust. He believed even a child could process loss, fear, and meaning without being told what to feel. "Don't worry about money," he once said. "Do your best work. It will take care of itself." That philosophy shaped the next 50 years of storytelling. Films like Bambi, The Lion King, and Beauty and the Beast didn't lecture the audience. They trusted emotion to teach. That trust built an empire. And it's that exact trust the modern Disney model systematically destroyed. When Bob Iger became CEO in 2005, Disney's creative edge had dulled. Pixar was outperforming it. ESPN viewership was falling. Cable was dying. Iger's solution was simple: buy the future. Between 2006 and 2019, he spent $7.4 billion for Pixar, $4 billion for Marvel, $4 billion for Lucasfilm, $71 billion for 21st Century Fox. It was an $85 billion land grab that made Disney the most powerful entertainment company in history. By 2019, Avengers Endgame grossed $2.8 billion. Frozen 2 crossed $1.4 billion. Disney owned 8 of the 10 highest-grossing films worldwide. But this was not innovation, it was acquisition. Disney didn't outcreate its competition, it outbought them. The empire grew, but the soul shrank. Creativity became consolidation. And as every studio under the Disney umbrella was forced into the same formula, the diversity of thought that built the company vanished. Inside Disney, the culture shifted. Ideas no longer started in the writer's room. They started in the data. Executives began using analytics to predict what audiences should want, instead of asking what they felt. Scripts were redesigned by committee. Story arcs were tested against engagement matrices. Characters were adjusted to maximize cross-platform potential. What emerged wasn't storytelling. It was intellectual property management. Disney's synergy model became its creative prison. Marvel fed merchandise. Merchandise fed parks. Parks fed streaming. Streaming fed subscriber targets. Everything had to connect, and that meant nothing could risk standing alone. For a time, it worked. But synergy doesn't build emotion. It builds sameness. Audiences stopped seeing Disney as a dream factory and started seeing it as a brand that only knew how to repeat itself. 2019 was Disney's next big bet. Disney Plus. It launched as the Netflix killer. And in year 1, it looked unstoppable. 74 million subscribers in just 12 months. But behind the explosive growth was a bleeding balance sheet. By 2023, Disney Plus had lost $11 billion cumulatively since launch, and over $4 billion annually in operating losses. Average revenue per user dropped from $7.14 to $5.93. Subscriber churn exceeded 12%, and Netflix's market share, instead of shrinking, grew from 45% to 49% in the same period. While Disney chased scale, Netflix chased loyalty. While Disney mass-produced IP, Amazon used streaming to strengthen Prime's ecosystem. Disney, meanwhile, turned its most beloved stories into content pipelines. What Disney saw as audience retention was actually audience fatigue, because creativity cannot be sustained by calendar scheduling. It's sustained by curiosity, and curiosity is the one thing you can't automate. Disney's financials tell the story better than any critic could. Between 2019 and 2024, stock price fell from $200 to under $90. Market cap erased nearly $190 billion in value. Operating income in film and entertainment dropped 44%. ESPN Plus losses topped $500 million in 2023 alone. Box office returns fell by 36% year over year. Meanwhile, Bob Iger's compensation climbed to $45.9 million in 2023, up 184% from his 2015 package. In that same year, Disney cut 7,000 jobs and froze over 50 in-development projects. Analysts started calling it the paradox of profitless scale, a company growing bigger but less profitable with every acquisition. And shareholders began to notice. Institutional trust, once Disney's strongest intangible asset, fell in parallel with its audience trust. In 2019, 76% of investors rated Disney's leadership confidence as strong. By 2024, that number had dropped below 32%. When a company stops trusting its audience stops trusting the company, and the market always follows trust. As Disney fell into defensive mode, competitors filled the gap. Netflix doubled down on original IP, The Witcher, Squid Game, Wednesday. Amazon invested over $10 billion in Prime Video content and secured the NFL streaming rights. Warner Bros. Discovery merged HBO and Discovery, Plus to create a profitable hybrid model. Disney, meanwhile, kept burning cash to maintain subscribers. In 2024, Netflix's operating margin rose to 21%. Disney's was below 4%. By mid-2024, Amazon Prime Video had surpassed Disney Plus in North American engagement time, and Netflix overtook Disney's total streaming revenue for the first time. Disney's moat, its ownership of nostalgia, no longer mattered, because nostalgia doesn't retain users when curiosity fades. Disney's competitors didn't win by being cheaper. They won by being smarter, by trusting audiences to want something new. Every one of Disney's failures, creative or financial, comes back to the same root cause: fear. Fear of losing control, fear of new voices, fear of confusing audiences. The original Disney embraced risk. The modern Disney avoids it. Walt once said, "It's kind of fun to do the impossible." Today's Disney boardroom says, "Let's just do what worked last time." In that shift, imagination became a liability. The company stopped trusting audiences to interpret. It started explaining everything, every theme, every lesson, every emotion, until nothing meant anything. That fear produced a paradox. Disney grew bigger than ever, but smaller in meaning. Magic was replaced by management, creativity by calculation, wonder by optimization. And when your brand is built on belief, that's the most expensive loss of all. The road back isn't about new franchises or acquisitions. It's about rediscovering trust. When Disney let studios like Pixar and Marvel operate independently, it created billion-dollar hits driven by authenticity. not oversight. When it's centralized control, the output decline. The solution isn't expansion, it's decentralization. Trust creators, trust risk. Trust the intelligence of the audience that made Disney matter in the first place. There are glimpses of hope. Films like Encanto and Coco, no franchises, no superheroes, no corporate mandates, succeeded because they were built on empathy and truth. They didn't tell audiences what to feel. They invited them to feel it. That's the DNA Walt built his empire on. And the one the current Disney leadership must rediscover before it's too late. In 2005, Bob Iger bought imagination. In 2024, he's trying to buy it back. But you can't buy trust. You have to earn it. Somewhere between data analytics and shareholder calls, Disney forgot that its audience was never a target demographic. It was a relationship. And once that relationship is gone, no amount of money can rebuild it. Because in business, just like in storytelling, when you stop trusting your audience, they stop believing in you. If you believe creativity dies the moment corporations start fearing their audience, subscribe. Because here we don't just cover companies, we dissect the empires behind them.